Hello guys, welcome to SWK Tutorials. Today you will learn how to do realistic image-based lighting in VRay using HDRI and Dome Light. First, we will do an afternoon scene lighting, then this cloudy scene lighting, and finally the night scene lighting. This tutorial is divided into 4 sections and 10 steps. Section 1. Use an override material in render setup to figure out lighting. Section 2. How to light using Dome Light and HDRI maps. Section 3. Post-processing in VRay frame buffer. Section 4. Solve HDRI BG issues by using one HDRI for lighting and its copy for the background. Don't skip any part because you will be learning important parameters and their concepts too. Section 1. Use an override material in render setup to figure out lighting. Once we set our camera and composition, turn on material override. Normal render versus override material render. This will render faster and help you in figuring out light and shadows easily. Go to render setup or press F10. Go to VRay tab. Turn on global switches. Check override MTL. Click on the slot and choose a basic VRay MTL material. This will override all materials in the scene and render all the objects in default gray color. Now we are done with material override step and our renders will be like this. Section 2. How to light using Dome Light and HDRI maps. Create a dome light by clicking here, or you can simply go to your light section, go to VRay, click on VRay light, change the type from plain to dome and click anywhere in the scene. A dome light inverts in the scene. It is frequently used for image-based lighting using high dynamic range images or simply HDRI. So you have to first download free HDRI from the internet. I have already downloaded 3 HDRIs from this website. You can find their links in the description below. Next step. Add VRay bitmap. Make sure the dome light is selected. Go to modify panel and add a VRay bitmap to the texture slot if you are using VRay 5. If you are using previous versions of VRay, example VRay Next or VRay 3, then add VRay HDRI map. Actually, the VRay HDRI map name has been changed in VRay 5 to VRay bitmap. Select the HDRI for the afternoon shot. You can find the link in the description. Render the scene. Light intensity is too dark, so increase the multiplier from 1 to 35 and render the scene again. Now the light is okay and the dome light is using this HDRI as environment map to light the scene, but not the way we want. If you look at the render, the sun is currently at the back side of the house instead of the front part. You can also look into this HDRI. Currently the sun is here in the HDRI and this part is currently somewhere here at this part here. So the sun is here and the shadow is actually coming towards this side. Now guys, to correct this, I have to rotate this HDRI map from this side all the way till here so that it comes in front of the house and make this part bright and the shadows towards the back side. Till now, that is VRay 5, we have two methods to rotate the HDRI. Method 1. Rotate the HDRI using dome light. If you rotate the dome light, nothing will happen right now. Let's see an example. Go to the top viewport, press F3. You can see the dome light is selected. Start interactive rendering. Or simply click here and rotate your light to approximately 45 degree. I can also type a value here and render the scene. Oops, you can see the render is all white. It is because the video is currently rendering the top viewport. Stop it. Click here so that this viewport is selected. Go to your render setup and click on this lock. Now, by clicking here, I am telling viewport to only render this viewport. You can see VRay Cam 01, VRay Cam 01. Now VRay will only render this viewport and it will not render any other viewport. Now I will click here and I will render again. You can see I have changed the rotation to 45 degree but minus 45 degree, but nothing has happened here right now. Now stop your rendering. Change the rotation to minus 190 degree. Render again. You can see nothing is happening even if I am rotating the dome light. So I will open my dome light rollout and check lock texture to icon. Change it to, let's say, minus 45 degree and render. Save. Change the rotation to minus 90 degree. Render again. Save and compare. Minus 45 degree, minus 90 degree, minus 45, minus 90. You can clearly see that the light, shadows and even the background is changing when I am rotating the HDRI. Let's rotate it one more time to 180 degree and render again. Now I am happy with the light direction, shadows and even the background. This is the first method you can use to rotate the HDRI map. Method 2. Rotating the HDRI using VRay bitmap or VRay HDRI map. For method 2 to work, make sure lock texture to icon is unchecked, else this trick will not work properly. Change the rotation back to 0. Open material editor. Open journal rollout and left click here and drag it to a slot. Click OK. Make sure it's an instance. Next, to rotate the HDRI, you need to change the horizontal rotation. Change the horizontal rotation to 45, or you can simply do like that. You can start interactive rendering. Currently the HDRI is back to its default position, that is 0. Change the horizontal rotation to 45. Change it to 90. You can clearly see as I am changing the horizontal rotation, the background, the shadows and the light, everything is changing. Change it to 180. Now again I am happy with the sun direction, shadows and the background. Plus you can see that both the methods produce the same result at 180 degree. If you want to increase or decrease the intensity of the HDRI map, then again you have two options. You can either change the multiplier or you can change the overall multiplier here, or even the render multiplier. They will produce the same result, but I will suggest that you should only change one thing. If you are changing the multiplier, then please change the multiplier and leave these two. Or if you are changing this render multiplier, then do not change the multiplier here, else you will just create confusion for yourself. Mapping type. Currently the mapping type is set to spherical because most of the HDRI are spherical. But if your map is not spherical, you can change it to angular, cubic, mirrored ball or 3ds Max standard. But 99% of the time the spherical will work fine. When I am done with setting the HDRI rotation intensity, then it's time to uncheck the VRay override material in the render setting. I will simply uncheck it and render again. Wow, I like the warm tones, but there is still some issue. Can you spot it? Yes, these highlight burns. These are the places where the light is too much. You might be thinking to decrease the light intensity. Yes, you can do that, but you have to render again and it will waste time. So I will suggest to decrease the light intensity only if highlight burn is covering more than 30% of the model. In my case, the highlight burn is only towards this and this part. So I will correct them in the post-processing, example Photoshop or VRay frame buffer, because it will save render time. There is still a lot to learn in this tutorial, so don't go away and keep watching. Especially when we are doing night scene lighting, you will be learning how to solve background issues. Plus, hit the like button. Your likes and appreciation matters a lot to me. Section 3. Post-processing in VRay frame buffer. To decrease the highlight burn, simply go here, click on create layer and add an exposure layer. If you are using previous versions of VRay, then click here, show corrections control, check exposure and click here. You will get the same controls. Next, decrease your highlight burn. I am decreasing my highlight burn and I am watching the image. Okay, now without exposure layer on, off, on. You can see that it has decreased these highlight burns. Plus, I always add contrast of 0.1 to my VRay renders because by default the VRay renders are little bit washed out. Now you can see exposure off, exposure on, off, on. Plus you can also change the white balance. Just click here and add a white balance. Cool tones, warm tones. So you can see it's extremely easy for you to do the post-processing in VRay frame buffer. I just want it to be a little bit cooler, not too much, just slightly. Previous result, without white balance, with white balance. Now we have completed our afternoon lighting. Next, we will do the cloudy lighting and night lighting. For cloudy lighting, I have already downloaded this HDRI from the internet. You can find its link in the description below. Now, quickly change the HDRI. And render. You can see the power of HDRI lighting. Just by changing one HDRI, we have completely changed the lighting. Just compare them. afternoon lighting. As I just changed one HDRI, this whole lighting has been changed into this. Now it's time for the night scene lighting, in which you will learn the BG issues and its solutions. Just like before, change the HDRI in the VRay bitmap. Make a fresh one. Click here. Again left click here and drag it to an empty slot. Make it an instance and render again. The first issue I see is that the intensity is too high. So I will decrease my multiplier to 1 because I was changing my intensity from the dome light and not from this part here. Next, I want to rotate my HDRI because I don't want this yellow light on my house. So start rotating it to, let's say, 90 degree. Okay, I can see some difference here, but still I don't like it. Change it to 180 degree. The intensity is low, so I will increase my intensity multiplier to, let's say, 5, or I can also change it from here. It's up to you. Change the value from any one of them. I am happy with my lighting, but the background is extremely bad. To keep the lighting same and change the background position, first I will go to my options rollout and check invisible. This will remove the, or you can say hide the background. Next, click on any one of these slots. Click Get Material. Double click on the VRay bitmap if you are using VRay 5. If you are using the previous versions of VRay, then click on VRay HDRI. Again, select your HDRI. Change the mapping type from standard to sphere because we know the HDRIs are normally spherical. Even you can see it here. Look at this one and this one. You can see that it's not displaying proper. Next, go to rendering, click on environment or press 8 on the keyboard. Drag it here like this and make it an instance. Turn it off. Now all I have to do is just to rotate this horizontal rotation. I have already tested the values to save the time. If I enter -52 here, I get the value that I want. You can see it has been rotated here. Now as far as the intensity is concerned, I have to increase it. I don't want it to be that much dark, so I will put 5 here, and you can see my intensity of the sky has been increased. It's all up to your choice, whatever you want, but the most important thing is that you have to create another VRay bitmap or VRay HDRI, and then go to your rendering environment and drag it here and make it an instance, so that whatever change you make in your horizontal rotations or your render multiplier, they will affect here too. Next, do some post-processing. Click here, add an exposure and change the contrast to 0.15. I always increase the contrast because it makes the result little bit sharp. Plus you can do a lot of other things for the night scene, especially there should be some lights here inside the house and some other lights too, but since I'm just doing a tutorial on HDRI image, so I didn't add them. In the future I will be doing a scene on night lighting in which I will be telling you how to properly lit or do the night lighting scene. Plus I will recommend you guys to After doing this tutorial, watch my tutorial Professional Secrets of Adding Detail in 3D Renders using Ambient Occlusion Pass. It will add details to all of these places and make your result look more good. I hope that this tutorial was helpful for you. If you like this tutorial, give it a like. If you love this tutorial, subscribe to my channel, share my videos. Keep creating guys. Bye bye.